Hey everyone, got a GameCube here. This is part of the same batch as the Game Gears I recently did, so thanks Marco. Now, sticker says no audio video and a little light bulb, but we also have no screws and the little switch that detects if the case is open or not, which sits right here, connects to this. That's missing. So first off, let's see if this thing even powers on. I've got a power supply for it, but I don't have one of these cables right here. This one is kind of like a figure 8 curved on both sides. That's a non-polarized plug. Doesn't matter which side's hot, which side's neutral. This other plug that I have, see there's a flat side. So whatever you plug this into, it wants one side of it to be hot, one side to be neutral. So this will not fit in on the square side. So I'm going to do the sensible thing here and use my homemade belt sander to turn this square face into a round one. I think that should do the job. And perfect fit. You'd never guess that was in factory. But seriously, don't actually do that, okay? Alright, turning on the wall plug now. Nothing's exploded. And we do have a light. That's good. TV is hooked up. Gonna plug in the power to the GameCube right now. Gonna turn the power on. And yeah, there's nothing on the screen right here. So what I'm hoping is the fact that there's no switch connected to this thing right here to tell the system that the door is closed, it doesn't want to do anything. Easiest way to check that is just to short these two wires together. Basically just shove something metallic into the two far holes. There's nothing connected to the middle hole right there. Looks like this old capacitor leg is just big enough to fit inside this hole. So I'm just going to take a pair of pliers, twist this, and put it inside there. Alright, let's see if this fits in here. There we go, that should do it. Let's get you guys pointed back at the TV. And turning the power on now. We've got a power light, but no signs of life from this thing. This should be the reset button. So yeah, we're not getting any kind of spin on the disc motor. And doesn't seem like the laser's active. The side fan does work here. So I think we're going to have to rip this apart and take a good look at the insides. Maybe more parts missing, or hopefully maybe just a disconnected cable, but we're never that lucky. Full disclosure, it's actually been like 2 weeks since I filmed that last segment. The NES video that you guys watched, that one was actually filmed a few days ago. Looks like this piece just pulls out, hopefully. Hopefully that's not too much of a pain to put back in. Let's get the fan off next. We've got 2 screws here, and I believe this power cable's got to be attached. Looks like it's gone to the main power supply right there. Now we'll take off these 2 little retaining bits here. Each of them's got 2 screws. And these just come off. Next, we're going to go all the way around and take all these screws off. And this is the part where I really regret not having a power screwdriver. All the screws are off. Hopefully I haven't missed any, but this bit now should just lift off. So there's no ribbon cables going from here to the main bit. This little connector plugs into that bit right there. And let's do a quick check, see if we've got any obviously blown capacitors or anything like that, or any type of corrosion that's on the board. Not seeing anything so far. Let's get this heatsink off. Looks like there's 6 screws holding it in. And if I remember, this is not thermal paste underneath. I believe there's little thermal pads, which might be a little bit tricky to get off. Thermal pads, chances are they might be dry after all these years, and basically acting as cement to hold this to the chips underneath. All the screws are off. We're going to try gently just twisting and pulling at this thing. Oh. Apparently that bit just comes off. Yeah, looks like those 6 screws were the only thing holding this to the bottom of the case. Let's see if we can get this off without wrecking anything. There we go. This is still pretty pliable, which is good. It's not dried up or anything like that. Not seeing anything obvious so far. All the capacitors and everything like that look okay. Let's check, see if anything's getting pulled to ground. We're basically going to check for shorts. That's open. That one's 24 ohms. Not a direct short. 24 ohms and ground. Alright, let's look for fuses. I believe that's one right there. Right, so unless I'm really blind, this right here is the only fuse I've found, and that one's good. Let me just do a bit of quick Googling to see if there's any more fuses on this thing, but I mean, considering the PS2 had like 50 fuses, for this thing to have one is kind of odd. Right, so I haven't found anything solid to go on, so I'm thinking to check a few things here, specifically this clock crystal right here, and I can use my new toy to do this. Let's get this back enough just to test it. Now, the only potential snag in this whole plan is that this may stop it from turning on. This is that top door sensor switch, and this is currently not plugged into this, and I can't plug it in if I want to test that clock crystal right there. So let's see if we get fan spin. We do. Hopefully means that crystal is going to be active. So let's break out my new toy. This is an oscilloscope, by the way. It's not the best oscilloscope in the world. Certainly not an expensive Keysight or anything like that. But for what I'm doing, I think it should be more than enough. And let's see if I blow up my oscilloscope on the first try. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. That's going to be the frequency counter. I'm guessing it's jumping around because there's nothing actually connected to it right now. So I'm going to connect the ground, and I'm going to touch it to one leg of the clock crystal, and 32.7 kilohertz. Let's see what the auto button does. There we go. So right now we're above my pay grade for anything past this, but the clock crystal is working. This is rechargeable, by the way, so it's not plugged into the wall. I've heard, and correct me if this is not true, let me know down in the comments, but apparently this is safer in terms of not blowing up your oscilloscope, because apparently you're able to backfeed through the ground if both grounds are going to the same place, basically the wall socket. So this one apparently less chance of blowing up. Back to this thing now. Let's take a page out of that NES repair I did and start swapping parts with my good one until we find out what's broken. And of course, before we do anything, let's make sure this one works as well. Powering on the GameCube now. Got fan spin. And I didn't turn on this TV. TV's now plugged in, as you can see right there. And turning on the GameCube now. There's fan spin. I don't see a power LED. And this laser isn't moving either. Okay, so I'm having a weird sense of deja vu right now. So let's take this one apart, see if we can figure out what's going on, and maybe swap parts around again, see if we can get at least one working. This one here is actually missing these 4 screws at the bottom. These right here are not Phillips or flathead, these are game bit screws. Basically one of these little wacky bits here. This is the same bit you'd use to take apart any of the old Sega or Nintendo cartridges. And this is what the screw head looks like. This is the missing switch from the other one right here. So all we're doing to bypass this switch is just shorting out these 2 wires. And at first glance, doesn't seem to be much corrosion or anything in here. And to be perfectly honest, not sure why this thing's not powering on. Yeah, we're getting fan spin, but no power LED. Let's see if it's just this cable at the front here that's not seated properly. Connector looks okay. Let's actually try the connector from this one on this just to see if it lights up. This is not the easiest cable to put in as well. Alright, that cable's connected, and this is the LED that we knew was working. Let's see what happens. Still no LED light. Just occurred to me, the original GameCube, the laser was actually sitting in the home position down here. This one is stuck up here and doesn't want to move. I am going to get the other one, connect it back, move the laser up, and see if it at least goes down to the home position. This is the first GameCube right here. All I'm going to do is just force the laser up a little bit here. We'll plug it in, and what we're looking for, we want to see if the laser returns to the home position. No, doesn't. Here's a theory on this one here, why nothing's working. This is the first one here. We know we have fan spin on this one, but nothing else. The power comes in from here on the fan assembly and then goes to the motherboard. If that fuse on the motherboard is gone, that might be causing the symptoms that we're seeing with this. So let's see if I'm right. So I'm gonna rip this one apart, same way we did that one. This one does need a little bit of cleaning, by the way. Let's see if we can lift this out. And that's the fuse right there. And let's see if there's continuity. No, there's not. So fuse is bad. Doesn't necessarily mean that all we have to do is replace a fuse. There could be something else on the motherboard that's caused that fuse to blow. But fuses are cheap. Let's try replacing that one. Gonna be a fun time getting that fuse out as well, right next to this plastic connector. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I don't have any 5 amp fuses. I do have 3 amp fuses that I bought for the PlayStation 2 a couple of videos back. I'm not gonna make you guys wait 2 months for the fuse to come in. I'm going to try this with one of the 3 amp fuses. I'm thinking as long as I'm not actually running a game, it hopefully should not draw enough power to blow that 3 amp fuse. So let's give that a try. I have ordered some 5 amp fuses, so we'll swap it out when that comes in. But for now, let's try that 3 amp fuse. Here's the fuse. Let's just test it, make sure it's working before we go to the trouble of putting it in. And it works. So here's what I'm going to do. Because there's a nice little plastic connector there that's going to get melted, can't really use hot air. And I'm not going to bother desoldering this old fuse. Just going to solder the new one right on top of it. There's metal contacts along each side of the fuse, which I should be able to catch onto this new one. So this is literally going to sit like that, and the metal ends are going to be touching. And when the 5 amp fuses come in, we'll take this one off and put a proper one there. First off, I'll pop a little liquid flux on the fuse and try to tin the ends now. And this is going to be the part where I wish I had a microscope. And let's see if we can get this to join up now. It's one side. And now for the other side. So, old fuse came off anyways. So tin these pads again. Kind of crooked, but it's on there. Fan / power input's connected, and I'm gonna plug this part in now so we can see if the LED turns on. Wall power is on, hitting the power switch, and we have a light. Let's connect the video, and here we go. Alright, so that's one working GameCube. That error is because there's no CD drive attached. So let's connect the CD drive, or DVD drive I should say. Turn it on, and we're going to watch to see if the laser carriage moves back to here. Going to manually press these switches here. There we go. And you can see the laser working. And that's back, and there's no error. Let's push our luck a little bit and try it with a game, see if it blows out. I'm not popping all the screws back in just because I'm going to have to take this thing apart again. Got a GameCube controller, as well as my best GameCube game. Incidentally, also my only GameCube game. Time to see if we blow the fuse now when I hit this power button. Nope. So good so far. And here we go. So I think we can call this one fixed for now. When the fuse comes in, I'll pop it in and I'll do like a quick short video, maybe tack it on to the end of another video. Stupid game. But we still have one broken GameCube here. This one is probably not going to be quite as easy a fix. I am going to do more checking up on this one, and we'll do a follow-up video. If anyone has any kind of recommendations for this, let me know in the comments. I'm seeing some stuff like they're saying reflow some of the chips in there. But to me, when I hear that, that sounds like sort of a temporary fix, because I don't think they're reflowing for cold solder joints. I think the internals of the ICs are actually starting to go, and the heat's kind of kicking it back in, similar to what happens with PS3s when you hit them with some heat and they come back alive for a bit. But that's just a theory of mine. We verified that the crystal's good at least, which was the one, well, besides checking the capacitors, that was the one other thing they said to check, and that seems okay. And it looks like power is flowing through it, at least through here. We do get the LED light when we turn it on. But yeah, I'll stop rambling for now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Take care.